Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to look at the class summary to see which apps were used by which students and for how long. So after your Apple Classroom session is over, you're going to tap End Class in the top left corner. And across the top it will tell you all the apps that were used by any students in your class. So there were 13 apps used between my two students, and you can scroll across the screen to see the extra ones that go off the edge here. It also shows you at the end who in your class used, or how many students in the class used each app. This Epic one was used by all students, and then it goes off to the single students that are down here. So it does the highest number first. So I only had one student go into ABC Mouse and Codapillar. If you want to know which student went into that app, so maybe they were not supposed to go into GoNoodle and you want to see who went into that app, you can simply tap on it with your finger and it will show you which student. So this was student 2 that was in that app. It shows you where in the session they went into it. So was it in the beginning of your session? Was it towards the end or somewhere in the middle? So this one was kind of towards the beginning, middle of the session, but they were only in the app for 14 seconds. So that means they might have just clicked on it by accident and got right back out. It'll show you the length in seconds or minutes if they're in there for a bit longer, and it's kind of nice to see in which part of the session they were in that app. So if I go to click on Teach Your Monster to Read, there were 2 students that went into that app. Student 2 was in there for 25 seconds at the beginning of our session, and student 1 was in there for 2 minutes closer towards the end of our session. And you can do that with all the other apps to see which students used them and for how long. So this student was in Epic for quite a long time towards the end of the session. You can also do the opposite and search by student at the bottom of your page. So I want to see a report on every app that student 1 used. I can tap on student 1 at the bottom, and here is a list of all the apps that student 1 clicked on during our session today and at what point they used those apps. You can see that it lists the ones that they use the most often on top, going to the least often on the bottom. You can see ABC Mouse, they were only clicked in there for 2 seconds, and it was around this time. And you can see they clicked into a couple apps just for a few seconds before going back to, it looks like Teach Your Monster to Read was what they ended up on at the end of the session. So this is a nice report. If you ever needed to, you could take screenshots of this by pressing on the power key and the home button at the same time. You can get the student picture in there, or just take a snapshot and just write on it digitally with markup. And I'll show you that in just a second with the name of the student if you ever did need to capture this for any sharing purposes. And then I can click over to student 2 and see their report. You can see they spent a lot of time in Epic towards the end and did some other apps around the middle of our session. So let's say I need to capture a screenshot of this. I'm going to do the home button and the power button at the same time. Normally you'll hear a click, but because I'm presenting on my computer, you won't hear it. If I tap on that screenshot, I can easily pull it up, and although it should say your student name here, if it doesn't, because the screenshot is really long and it covered up the student name, you can just choose one of those markers and you can write the name on there. So I'm going to write on here student 2, and then I can tap that the done button up here. Now this is from the screenshot, the word done, so I want this done button up here, and it will save it to my photos and I can share it if I need to share that. So again, that's how you look at your class summary. When you hit done, all these items will go away, and when you go back in, you're starting a fresh new session with new apps and new timestamps.